When you subscribe to WROK on YouTube, you never miss a meeting.
Okay, so I am going to call to order the October 20th, 2021 regular meeting of the Royal Oak Downtown Development Authority. Directly to item number 1, item number 2. This is the time for public comment. So anybody in the audience that would like to address the board, now would be the time for any item that's either on the agenda or not. Okay.
So good afternoon, my name is Troy Cobrecht. I was here last month to discuss the alley that is public. It's public land that is behind our building at 408 South Washington. We're the old Kresge building. I have the good fortune of my neighbors from Stagecrafters. They're also here. Okay, so the alley right now is it's a combat zone. It recently received a half a dozen conduits for the new Baker College, and we have a transformer and we have something else in there, but the pavement has been completely uprooted and it's no longer functional. We're looking for a participation, and we're actually looking for some contribution from the DDA. You're in the process of rebuilding alleys on Main Street, which is lovely. Next year, we would like for you to consider us. There was a petition in 2016. It was approximately $100,000 to remove all the pavement, grade the pavement, and then get some proper irrigation. But storm sewers right now, it has a lot of standing water. Part of the alley, if you can see on this little sketch, doesn't even have pavement at all. And that was from a repair maybe 4 or 5 years ago. We have a rat problem, and 6 inches of concrete would take care of a lot of problems right now. This particular block, this square block, I think I iterated last month. This square block pays approximately about $500,000–600,000 per year in property taxes. I send $61,000 to the DDA, and we would like to have some consideration for some of that money coming back to the alley. The fifth is a major component of property taxes, my neighbors next door. And then we have Imaginate, the new theater, or the new restaurant. Now is the time to think about next year with the new Baker College coming on board. This is something that I think needs to be addressed so that we could look at a higher quality of standard for all of us. So, and that's it. Anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Otherwise, think about us. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions at this time? Okay.
I guess this is maybe not related, but it looks like you also need like electrical cleanup. It's like there's so many wires.
It is incredible what's going on there. And the disappointing part is that out of the 3-4 conduits that were installed 2 months ago, I was told that half of those were supposed to be dedicated to all the low voltage. Well, it turns out, no, nothing. All that conduit was strictly for Detroit Edison. I would be a strong proponent to really start thinking about how do we get these cables underground. Last month, I was on top of my roof doing a roof repair. A truck came through, caught, and ripped out the entire block. Ripped out all my tenants and the tenants next door. Caught the wire. The alley is a problem. I mean, it was 100 years ago. It was built for Montgomery wards and for us for Kresge's, and it was strictly loading. It was never intended for what it is right now. But we have to, we're looking forward, and I know we're smart enough, and we got the money. We can do it. We can do.
Well, I guess my question is, if you're going to put the cement in, we should bury the wires first. We should be all part of those.
I would strongly agree with you, and it's a process. I understand Detroit hasn't told me that they're going underground, which is great. So now we got to get the low voltage, the cable, the telephones, which are really low. They're approximately like 9, 10 feet. And the alley just makes these radical changes in elevation. So when a truck, comes from a very low point to a high point, he catches one cable, rips out the whole thing. Yeah, you're right. And I'm willing to work and to put this effort into getting these things buried. And, I think we're going to look at a higher quality standard, Really excited about Baker College coming on board. I think it's going to be a lot of synergy between our restaurants. I think they're going to be going back and forth. I met the woman who runs the operation this morning, lovely person. And I think that, it's going to be a real plus for us for that part of Royal Oak. So we need your help. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, folks. My name's Mark Clark, and I'm here from Stagecrafters, one of the other people in the alley over there. And we have all the same concerns that were just stated to you, but additionally, we have other things going on there. I don't know how familiar you are with Stagecrafters, our theater. There we have a really beautiful theater, 100-year-old. It's a landmark theater. It's a jewel of your downtown area there. But all of our access to our theater is from the alley. It's either from the alley or from the other alley. We don't have access to our theater from the main street. That was lost when the Fifth built their building there. So everybody who comes to our theater goes in and enters through an alley, one way or another. We just had the Baker College renovation come through our alley. They needed to get power. Normally, when that's done, the power transformers and everything for those particular buildings are supposed to be on the owner's property. Somehow they got special permission to go ahead and put their power distribution in our alley. We've got a large transformer and a large switch in the alley. And the installation of this took our poor situation and made it into a very, very bad situation. It's the cold patch that they use to repair the alley is it's just unacceptable. It's not the face that we certainly don't want our patrons and our members and our people coming in and out of this alley and having a look at this and see this. It's not the face that we want the city to be shown. When everybody comes from the parking garages and they walk to our theater, to the Royal Oak Music Theater, to one of the many restaurants in that area, they walk right by that alley. And we're trying to build Royal Oak up, and we're trying to advance our shows and do a better job down there. But what everybody's seeing is this alley that's just a war zone. It's just beat to death, and I'm afraid that's what the people are seeing. That's their vision of what Royal Oak is, and that's definitely not what Royal Oak's supposed to look like. We think that we'd like to ask for your help too, because this Baker College, why we love that we're getting new buildings and stuff in the city. I think it's kind of what happened to our alley was kind of unfair to us as residents over there, and we're looking for your help to fix this up. To address Lori's question about the wires are a huge problem back there. We have delivery trucks. All the businesses there have delivery trucks. The Fifth have moving trucks that come in and out of there. All these, a lot of the people from the Fifth come in and out through this alley. This alley gets a lot of traffic, but these wires make it extremely difficult for the trucks to get around. The trucks back into our building and damage our building because they can't get around and back in and out. It's a traffic flow problem as they're trying to get in and out, And they've even taken to parking in the middle of the street now and doing their deliveries from the street because of the poor condition of our alley. So we really think that a city like this is something that really needs to be addressed, and we're looking for you guys' help to put a better light on the subject and help us out.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name's Alan Simonian. I'm the Executive Director of Stagecrafters, but I also come here with the experience of being the former chair of the City of Berkeley DDA for many years, as well as a CPA in private practice. I look at this kind of from a twofold kind of perspective. One is for people coming to the city of Royal Oak, what is their first impression? They're going to be getting out of that parking structure. They're going to be going into the new Baker College. They're going to be coming out of Baker College. And this is what they're going to see is a very badly maintained alleyway that is also the only way that people get into Stagecrafters, but also it is the entryway that many people, many customers use for some of the restaurants that are our neighbors. So different from a lot of the alleys that are throughout the city that are basically used for just parking or driving through or delivery. This alleyway is actually used as a welcoming entranceway for many of the businesses. So it gives a slightly different perspective than the other alleys in the city. In addition, because you've got so many businesses that are frontage to that, whether it be Baker College or the coffee connection or the Imaginate restaurant, people are going to be walking by it and walking through it a lot more than they would any other alley in the city of Royal Oak. So that's why I say that it should have a little bit more weight than other alleys that are in the city. The other thing is that most of the damage that we're talking about has occurred in the last year. We've been a good neighbor as far as welcoming new businesses to the area, but with development, there is the offset of course, construction trucks, and the extra weight on the roads. So what's happened is in the last year, what was kind of passable is really not anymore. So it has been a definite decrease in the quality of what the aesthetic has been. So we are coming to you just, because we really would appreciate the DDA has been absolutely amazing and incredible in supporting us as well as our local businesses. This seems like the type of project that would fit within the realms of the DDA to support, and because it's affecting so many businesses, not only the ones that are located in the alley, but also the ones that are facing it and are having to look at it as patrons and customers are going in and out. So thank you for your support, and thank you for all the hard work that you've all been doing. I know what it's like. Thanks so much.
Mike, I have one question.
Yes.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So this is the second time I've heard this, but did Stagecrafters cut down a door for entrance into the theater? Because I thought there was a theater entrance between the buildings.
So on Fifth Avenue, which is the promenade, the walkway,
Yeah.
is the main entrance that theater goers go in. There is no, you can't drive up there. It's a pedestrian walkway. For people that are handicapped, the only way that we can get them in the building and be able to drive up to a door is to drive up to the second entrance. And that way they can go up a ramp and up an elevator if necessary. So it really is, part of it is that our entrance isn't on a road like many businesses are. It's on two alleys.
Correct.
Whether it be a walkway, promenade area, which is common with the Citizens Yoga and other businesses that use that space, or driving up, because it would be dangerous for someone to drive up that pedestrian walkway while people are coming into the building.
So you're saying this entrance off of this alley is your only ADA entrance into the theater?
Well,
Both are ADA, I'm sorry, both of them are ADA accessible entrances, but Only the one that you can drive up to is the alley that we're talking about.
Okay.
Alley.
Right. If somebody doesn't want to wheelchair all the way up the pathway, I mean, they can access it. That's not the issue. The issue is sometimes people drop people off, and then go park. Anything else? Thank you again for your
No,
time. I
thank
really
you.
do appreciate everything
Thank
you're
you.
doing.
Okay, anybody else for public comment? Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brandon Colo, 600 East Hudson. I'm here tonight to talk about the stamped alleys, like a lot of other people today. And first, I just want to thank you all. I mean, how amazing is this that what we're talking about is stamping alleys? We've done such a great job promoting our businesses, promoting our offices, promoting our retail, that we have people who want to now use alleys because the streets have been so much fun. These alleys are a great way to connect to the downtown. You guys were a key part in making that happen from 11 Mile down to 3rd Street, and we see the effects of that. Those lights are beautiful at night when they can change colors throughout the season. We hope to see programming in these alleys now. With the creation of the social district, we now have an opportunity to bring people to congregate outside in these downtown areas. So as we think about from 3rd to 4th and then 4th to 5th, there's parking lots here. These are where people are entering into the areas that they go to enjoy, the leisure areas. So we're lucky that this is torn up right now. We have an opportunity, as it is torn up, to really put it back and have a nice cohesive look in these 4 blocks of downtown. I know that this was considered earlier in the year, and that's when the budgets were really unknown. Who knew what was going to happen? Who knew what the impact of COVID was going to be? Luckily, in downtown Royal Oak, we survived and we thrived. Once again, thanks to the DDA, your Downtown Dollars program was a lifesaver to so many small businesses. It's excited people, it gets people, they want to be in Royal Oak, and this is a great way that we can continue that and that we can continue to have connectivity. This alley program starts down here behind Main Street. I'd love to see it go up to behind Washington one day. This is a great pathway. And I look at the future events we could hold, future shows, future art shows, future sales. There's a lot of reasons to do it now, and I think we'd look back and be upset at ourselves in the future if we thought how cool it could be. So I'm just here tonight to say thank you and encourage you to approve that.
Thank you, Ms. Cole.
Thank you all.
Anybody else for public comment? Okay, I'm going to close public comment. Just want to remind the board here, the first item that came to light on behind the stage crafters there. This board did already take action. It sent this to the infrastructure committee. The infrastructure committee just has not met yet. So that will be a topic of discussion at the next infrastructure committee. Just so you know, it is being addressed. Okay?
Is that something that anybody can attend?
Yes. It's a public meeting, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on. Item number 3, approval of the meeting minutes from September 15th, 2021.
Move to approve.
Motion by Director Riley,
Second.
second by Director Rosbeck. Any comments, questions, or corrections to those minutes? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes. Item number 4, expense items, monthly expenses. Question from Director Riley.
Yeah, Tim, real quick, the last one, the alley improvements there, that's at the initial payment between 3rd and 4th for the
Yes.
work there?
Well, it's probably a little bit of combination. You may
Okay.
have
Okay.
design work and construction.
And that's part of what was approved for, I can't remember which item, but the alley item.
Right.
One of the alley items.
Okay, no action is needed on this. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. Moving on. Item number 5, review Arts Beats and Eats Festival. I see Mr. Witz is here.
Basically, a little background on this. The agreement calls for the DDA and Mr. Witz or Arts Beats and Eats to have an overview within 45 days after the event. There's not really any particular action associated with it. The agreement simply says you'll have a conversation and an overview. So that's why it's on the agenda today. I don't know if you want to add anything, John, but if there's no questions or anything, I think you can.
Yeah, this is part of the agreement that we have with him. So, I mean, if you have any questions or concerns, we can address those now. I also know that Mr. Witz is around, so if you had something that came up later, it could be addressed at that point either. Committees can make, I'm sure he would be available to the committees at any time also, so.
So I know when we put this into play, that was one of the things I thought that our 45-day discussion would be in the committee, at the committee level, not at the board level, but that's fine.
I have a couple, I can be pretty quick.
Sure.
A couple comments on the event, if that's
Sure.
cool. So first of all, I just want to again thank the DDA for their support and spirit of collaboration. The spirit of collaboration went to a new level this year with the retail program, and it was just a magical addition to an event that I thought was transformational. I don't want to get too cosmic with everybody here, but it's probably the first time that this amount of people have been together in a space in 2 years in the state of Michigan, and just having no health issues, no spikes, being in constant contact with the health department. I think people just being with people, was very special. And then to be able to work with Matt and the support of the board to see positive impacts, from right impressions to Made in the Mitten to the office coffee shop DBA, the Coffee Connection. To see the impacts and the positivity. It was just it was an honor and a privilege. So I will start with just a couple quick notes, and then I wanted to give everyone just a quick highlight on something that I'm working on. So the event generated $380,000 for nonprofits. Everybody at this table or on this board helped, direct a portion of that. The City Commission helped a portion of that. Partners that have worked with us for a long time. Direct donations to Royal Oak folks like Stagecrafters that was just here, and many others was in the $110,000, and then also, in addition to the DDA getting their money back for all but 1 year of our partnership, when there was an $11,000 shortage, the event raised $70,000 or $80,000 for the parks, potentially to be used for the new, is it Centennial Park? Is that the
Centennial Commons.
Centennial Commons, thanks. That could be used for programming, but that's a nice chunk of change that was generated. We're now over $6 million, not just in Royal Oak, but in our history, $6 million to nonprofits from a festival. So wanted to mention that. Wanted to mention the collaboration also with City Police Department and operations. It was just flawless and dedicated work by Chief O'Donoghue. Tim was incredible to work with on the program as well, personally, carrying the cards over to us on short notice, accessible for so many questions and things that came up. So, just hats off to the Royal Oak team as well. On culture and diversity, we promoted many local artists. We supported local artists to the tune of that they did 1.5 million in sales in the streets, which again, for businesses that haven't been at art shows, and this is from surveys that we received. The program that you guys did was 32,000, I believe, in direct, impact. And Lori, you can, comment to this. There's going to be a 3 to 4 times ratio. If someone comes in and spends 10, it's going to lead to 40. We project that 10 led to 40, but I mean, it's probably $150,000 of impact directly, in addition to just people, being in the downtown. So, that's a keeper for the future. If people did make it around, they saw the music, diversity, and culture. There was BIPOC, donated spaces to artists of color. We were, folks noticed we were displaying pride flags throughout the event. It was just, diversity was everywhere, and it's just something we take pride in. On promotion for the city was mentioned positively in more than $1.5 million of promotional advertising. I can get recaps of this in the next week or so to Tim. Also in there will be approximately $600,000 worth of editorial news coverage that mentioned the city. So again, it's a $2 million commercial that no amount of advertising could purchase that was going on. I don't want to get into necessarily the history of business impact, but I can just say that many of the bars and restaurants, do historically well, and we're working closely on the retail. I will also be very upfront that we don't hit everybody perfectly. That there are businesses that don't catch it, and hopefully with folks like hair salons, folks can get rescheduled, and again, it doesn't necessarily mean lost business. We are willing to work with individual businesses. There was some concerns expressed by Citizens Yoga, where I've actually practiced before, about trying to make some accommodations. I think we can distinguish folks that are carrying yoga mats and getting them in for free and working with them in the future. So we are continually willing to work with an individual business that we can make an exception for or help. And we are, again, want to state that we cannot always give the answer that a business needs, but we are willing to tackle and address any issue. It's a very complicated event to keep everyone happy and to get it done, manage those kind of people. We are now in our 23rd year, 24 total, but 23 years of those kind of crowds without any major incidents or injuries. And that's a collaborative effort of public safety, the kind of programming that we offer out. And it was great to see many of you guys there having a good time. Seeing you smiling out there, Lori, actually made my weekend specifically. Just knowing you've had legit concerns on things in the past, and it was just great to see.
You get great weather.
Yeah, and weather is a big part of it, but you've got to be there. Like in any good thing, opportunity. You've got to be there when the opportunity of good weather's there to put on a big show, and we stepped up for that a lot. So I have something else I wanted to mention to the board before I go, but I would like to just see if there are any questions or comments specifically.
Any questions for Mr. Wentz?
I do.
Dr. Rossman?
So, I was at the event. It was, I remember what pre looked like and post, or not post, but it was bigger than the pre-COVID days for sure. But can you talk a little bit about the taking money at the gate and the charge at the gate, if you had any comments back, positive, negative, around that?
So we went from, are you talking about the price?
It seemed confusing. Like I was seeing comments just in general of people being confused at the price of the gate, this year.
So I will we went from 3, 5, and 7 to 5 before 3 and 10 after. We upped the charge because we ended up losing money. I think everyone was familiar with the food and beverage tickets that we used to have there. So we got rid of those, and in those tickets was a markup that helped us pay bills. And it also, if you want to talk about confusion, we had the most confusion, I think, in history dealing with those food tickets over time, because they didn't directly correspond to a certain dollar increment. So that we did a small increase. As everyone knows, prices are going up for everything. Our labor and our vendors are going up. So we had, I think, a modest increase, but we actually simplified the admission by making it $5 before, 3, and 10 after. So instead of 3 admissions with 3 different times, we went to 2, and we went to cash and credit direct at all businesses. So that was a big, I think a huge consumer-friendly addition that we had. And I see Commissioner Colo in the back, and I just want to recognize the commission, ARPA funds that they gave helped fund the ambassadors that we had for the retail businesses. So we were able to hire 26 people within 2 weeks. I don't know how quickly this was pulled off, Mr. Riley, but it was pulled off, quick. We had 26 ambassadors. We went door to door to local businesses to make sure they knew what was coming, and really did that. And the city commission support of ARPA's funds not only did that, but we had 10 downtown Royal Oak businesses participate as vendors. They got their fees reduced. Their combined income was over $150,000 in the streets alone, and their fees paid were next to nothing compared to what their costs were. They were $4,000 for a booth down to $1,500 on average for each of those businesses. So it was there's just so many success stories, around this. So I hope that answers your question, Jennifer, because we did try and simplify both the gate and the experience of spending by making it cash and credit direct at each business. Yes.
And the other thing was also that the entertainment was incredible. I mean, the entertainment was ramped up, so in my opinion, it totally justified that alone, in my mind, it justified any increases.
So I will address that. Our goal is to find a level between the entertainment we had this year and in the past. So our national music budget's in the $420,000 range. This year was $620,000. We had some grant support from other sources, so we wanted to invest that in the festival. So I think we'll probably land in the $500,000 range, so we will increase it from 2019. I am not sure we'll get to 2021, but we're trying to do the analysis of what we're able to do. But the sponsors had a great time. They're all coming back, the stakeholders. We're trying to get businesses excited in other events in Royal Oak, which is what I will also mention quickly, to see if, unless there's any other, or after there's any other questions.
One more comment that I would add. This was my first time working directly with the Arts, Beach, and Eats Committee. And one thing I'll say is that what these guys pulled off, I mean, we came up with the ideas, and without a downtown manager, between Tim and John Wicks and his gang, what they pulled off still blows my mind. And I mean, literally, Tim hauling boxes of these printed printed coupons over there. Everybody nailing it in terms of the logo, that was suggested by Jennifer. The T-shirts, getting everything on there. People knowing where to go. The actual boots on the ground. Charlotte and John walking to businesses to get people signed up. I mean, they did all of that. And then probably within the first hour of the event, there was a glitch. And I got a call from John and Charlotte, both of them, and they literally solved what the problem was real quick, was that we had like 5 or 6 new businesses who weren't around during the first Downtown Dollars that had never been entered into the system. Charlotte went to every one of those businesses within a half hour, got them all signed up and logged in, and got them up and running like that. I mean, that was, to me, that could have been, potential disaster, and they put the thing out in 20 minutes. I was actually sitting at Lily's having a sandwich while they were running around putting the fire out. So kudos to you guys.
Amanda.
I got a couple questions down here. Director Lana?
Well, as a participant, and also a question for you, I did prefer paying directly for the food. Did your food vendors prefer it as well?
Yes, they did. And we figured out their booth pricing by taking their booth fee plus the commissions they paid off the tickets, and then adding that together for an upfront fee. And they liked it. They like the simplicity because our customers like the simplicity, because everybody wants the customer to be happy. There were reasons why I did it, cash safety, there was revenue added in, there was reasons why we did the tickets, but everyone wanted. So the answer to your question is yes, and I think again the thing that we get is the businesses did so well, that we're just lined up. and getting that amount of food trucks and restaurants together in this age with the labor issues and what's going on, and I'm sure, Mike, you know what that is in the food and retail business, although you have an amazing crew all the time somehow. But, and Mike, you would know the challenges, you know, everyone, I guess retail too, right? So just getting that amount of businesses together was just a summer's worth of effort. And the fact that they all did so well, I think we're lined up to get good food participation in the future. But that was a struggle to get the food. You do all that promotion and people show up and there's nowhere to eat, you know, that's a trouble, so.
Director LaWan?
I think I missed it, but how many people total came throughout the whole weekend?
So the public announcement is 375. We don't, that's our estimation. The paid attendance is more like 175, but there's a lot of comp tickets and sponsored tickets that are handed out and people that come on different days that have all day, you know, wristbanding. But I'd say, you know, it's safe. It's really safe to say, you know, in the 250,000 to 300,000 range 100%, and we estimate a little higher because we think it's possible there are more free admissions. We don't count employees, we don't count other circulations that go on. So, you know, to the best of our ability, you know, that's what it is, and maybe we take a little extra credit for folks that show up for Fifth Avenue after you know, we stopped charging at the gates, but we're still technically on hours. So, you know, we, as Jennifer knows from being a marketer, we do some slight embellishment. You know,
hand a little.
yeah, slight on that, but it's in the hundreds of thousands. And again, just to see it so peaceful, so many families, so much diversity. It is the fabric of this region, and that's, again, this is, you're going to hear my philosophy on life. My favorite part of this event is with all the disagreements we have politically and all the tension that's in our community, reminding people what we have in common is my favorite part of this event, because there's these disagreements, there's these tensions, and to remind people what they have in common with families and drinks and music and art, you know, these things can help, you know, make these political discussions just a lot easier when we realize, man, we're just trying to live and be with our families, you know, it just shouldn't be so intense. So,
Anything else on Arts Beats and Eats?
Yeah.
Director Rossley?
I just wanted to mention, I appreciate all the nonprofit give back that you do, especially it was rewarding to be able to direct a little bit of it, because I want to just put into public, you know, record that the Royal Oak Youth Assistance received a $2,000 donation from Arts Beats and Eats, and that goes a long way in their budget. So it was exciting to be able to tell you about some of the other great nonprofits in the area.
You and Michael both gave ones that we were not aware of, so that was great. And there are a couple. There's one Amanda supported that, you know, ended up not being able to participate for a certain reason, which was Rossback. And there's just you know, there's a lot of community impact. And one other thing, there was someone who said this is all out of towners, but we have some data from Jeep that they couldn't share publicly, but there's like a 15% Royal Oak zip code on ride and drive usage. You know, so, and then when we announce stuff at the stages, so if you're looking at those hundreds of thousands of people, you probably have a legit 30,000 Royal Oakers that are actually coming and enjoying this out of your, you know, it's
sure.
probably around 50% of the people that live in the city are utilizing this event. So.
As the citizen here, yes, you have everyone. Well, I live on Woodward Dream Cruise, but this is the event for people because of the music. So yeah, it is a lot of just residents coming into town and staying in town.
Okay.
So
You have the floor, Mr. Woods.
Yeah, just so I know that I'm going slight off script, but there's a short notice thing that I just wanted to use this forum to mention that the Mayor Fournier has asked us to look at and try and quickly put together a holiday market festival in Royal Oak that we would target to be around 3rd Street and Williams, and use part of the parking lot around WROK on 3rd. Kind of German market, heated tent lodge with hot chocolate and games and live music, cookie making and baking or decorating for kids during the day, wine strolls. We'd like to use the Yifty program that went so well and use these 3 weekends as catalysts for giving out shopping and promoting shopping again, not just for any given weekend, but for the entire month of December, and using our media and putting together a strong media package as we've done to promote, shop, live, family. I had this great idea that just went away, unfortunately, which was to do evening drone shows, but we need way too much what's the FAA space? Yes, we don't have enough space. I was going to do these lighted drone shows over the park, which sounds and would have been amazing, but I just literally find out that that's a little kink. But our marshmallow roasters from Winter Blast and almonds and German food trucks and just some fun things that would be spirited. And to Jennifer's question about community giving, we would center each weekend around a nonprofit, from maybe a toys weekend, a coats weekend, and you have Salvation Army in the Royal Oak, so doing a Salvation Army weekend. So we could have giving. This would be free admission, and we will be asking for some support from the commission and from the DDA. And I'm asking, just using this forum without getting into a big discussion, to get to one of your committees, the right committee, or multiple, because there's multiple committees maybe involved, prior to the next meeting, so we can outline this. And we made just the biggest question I'm sure you'll have is, how do we pull 3 weekends off in short notice? And we did rock and rides when the governor opened things up. We did that in 3 weeks and had a huge success. The program we worked on with Matt and Tim was a 3-week turnaround, and we just have resources and folks that want to work with us that I think we can get it done. If we can't, we just won't move forward. 2 other notes on this. One, I have spoken to Julie Law on how we would coordinate with the parade. So I had a conversation with her to make sure we wouldn't do any damage to sponsors that she might have if we were doing holiday vendors on 3rd Street and she was doing carriage rides there, that maybe we would move our vendors for that specific day on Saturday. So we would want to collaborate. And I'm also going to be meeting with Shelley at the farmers market to tie into the tree lighting. So they're the 2nd and the 3rd. So we would piggyback off their 2nd night and kick off our weekend when they maybe light the tree on Thursday and have activities on Friday, which he was encouraged to do. That would launch in to what we're doing. And we all do a lot we do a lot that focuses on Washington. This would be an opportunity to do some stuff in a different, part of the downtown as well. So I am, just giving a quick preview and hoping I could get scheduled in and be in front of you guys formally in a month to see if we can pull it together. And this is not a money-making opportunity for us. We would actually be a sponsor of it, and this would be a give back to the city, but it's probably a $300,000 program. So we would commit some money. I have sponsors that are lined up to support. We'd ask for some help with you guys, and we would ask for some ARPA support, provided that it fits, and spin it around and turn this into a magical Royal Oak Winter Wonderland in the downtown, and then collaborate with the other events you have going and amp those up too. So, yes,
okay,
sir.
So, go ahead. I got some procedural things.
Yeah, just a couple comments on this. The first thing is I love the area of this, because it's, crossing Main and going into that area that doesn't, where Archbishop Needs isn't. I love that. I love the collaboration with the parade. I love the collaboration with Farmers Market. This has the potential to really turn Royal Oak into, for lack of a better term, holiday wonderland for all of December. The Business Marketing Committee had already been having discussions about some type of downtown dollars type program for December. To me, this is our answer right here. We bring back what we call downtown retail holiday dollars. I'm assuming that with the quote-unquote wine stroll, whatever you do there, the bars and restaurants will get a good night's take out of that.
Yeah, exactly. No charge to citizens, no charge to any Royal Oak businesses that wants a booth. We would actually build kind of those wooden structures that you see in New York and Chicago, and then we would have them on wheels so we could roll them in and out on 3 days notice, and then store them. So if we purchase them for the first year, they could be used in future markets. And one other idea you reminded me that's business marketing is we want to have a Royal Oak business decorating contest for decorating their business for the holidays. So encourage that, and then have some prizes, just, you know, whether it's Washington or Maine, for folks to get in the holiday
Yep,
spirit.
and then the last thing I'm gonna say is going back to the downtown dollars, which I think, in my opinion, and I think the business marketing committee would concur with this, but we'll have to take this to the committee real fast. I think we do the retail dollars again, and we do it through for at least all of December. We'll get some input. It won't be just, you know, for the days of the thing like we did before. We'll do this for all of December. We'll call them some type of retail holiday dollars, so people get the idea to spend these during the holidays. Again, we'll have everything listed. We'll do it the same way, and budgetary-wise, we don't even need to pull it out of the budget. We got the back from the last one is back into the IFT account. We have at least $100,000 we can throw at this. It's not even coming out of the budget.
I was gonna say, this would be good to have a collaborative meeting between business and consumer marketing, to just have a meeting with you, so we both can come back with
Answers?
with what our ideas and information is.
And I will say the mayor sent a pretty exhaustive and strong list of ideas that he had, that, you know, that we're chasing down, and we are happy to you know, follow through on other ones. And if we can pull it off, I mean, we even have someone looking at doing a skating rink in the parking lot behind WROK on 3rd, if it's possible to build one and do it in short term. But, you know, so we're looking at a lot of things. So getting in front of both those committees would be amazing.
The skating rink, we've gone down that alley before. It's very expensive.
Yeah, I'm not sure that one would happen, Laura. I'm saying we're investigating that. Yeah. And maybe we wouldn't be doing it quite as nice as you guys were looking at. Maybe it would be a little more, create something. But I think one issue that we have to worry about with stuff like skating, and I mean, ice sculptures is part of this too, is just the weather. I mean, we are in some new times with some unseasonal temperatures, so I think that's great for getting people out for the holidays, but not necessarily maintaining rinks and ice
For
sculptures.
the holiday parade, we always cannot do it on the same day as the bar crawl, jingle bar crawl, so that's another Saturday that usually gets eliminated from our.
Yeah. I think this is great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry
So-
to go over time here.
Yeah, so then the priority here would be that if the DDA is going to participate, that this has to be on our agenda for next month. So if the committees deem necessary, then they need to meet prior to that meeting.
Correct.
So that would be imperative. And Tim, I don't know how you want to proceed
Well, I guess the
with
question
those.
is, are you going to refer it to a particular committee?
Well, we can either, the choice would be to keep it in two separate committees for discussion, and each come back with a recommendation, or to have two members from each committee meet as a joint operation. Either way. I would like to see the Consumer Marketing Committee handle any specifics regarding the event like they usually do. But I would also like to see the Business Marketing Committee handle the downtown dollar situation as they have in the past also.
Just with what you're saying, Chairperson Svaya, I would just, I say do consumer marketing and then just have two guests from business marketing to join. I mean,
We can only have two members at each.
Yeah.
Because there's multiple board members.
It's quorum action, gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, my apologies.
We can.
I'll let you guys figure that out. I will be there anytime, and I am back in town on Tuesday evening, and anytime after Tuesday evening next week, I am, I'm available, and we'll make work around everyone's schedule. So just let me know where to be.
Okay, so I guess I could coordinate that for you, Tim, and get it.
Well, I don't have a problem scheduling a public meeting. That's all. I post it as a public meeting, and whoever shows up, shows up.
And it can be a planning meeting for this, yeah.
If you're not going to refer it to an individual committee, then I'll just post it as a regular work session of the DDA, and whoever comes, comes. That's the only nuance. I gotta post it 18 hours ahead of time and open the door.
Okay, does the
Sounds good.
board have
I would
a-
rather do that than have
Yeah.
2 meetings where people
Okay.
don't hear
I
the
would
same
agree.
thing.
So would the committee members who are gonna be involved, are you okay with, we're gonna schedule a meeting between now and next month's meeting?
Yes.
I'm okay. My only thing is I'm a little time constrained.
Well, Tim's gonna have to send out an email and everybody's gonna have to send their schedules
I
as
mean,
to
is that something that I could attend
remotely.
remotely? If
Yeah, I don't
maybe-
see why not.
Well, it just gets into how I have to notice it.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is ask who's gonna come in public. It just gets into nuances of where we hold it, how we notice it. So I'd rather we either do it all remotely or all public.
Because I'm out of town a lot, but I could probably do believe it, like November 4th. That's probably about.
Well, let me just send an invite out tomorrow and see who's
And then
available.
we can work on it.
Okay.
I think doing this collaboratively will make it go faster,
Okay,
definitely.
so you'll hear from us.
Thank you, everyone. Yes. Take care.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. We good with all that then? All right. Let's move on. Item number 6, Instagram contest.
Yeah.
Real briefly, this came out of, I believe, a discussion at the Consumer Marketing Committee that I was unable to attend, but in discussions with Kristen from Siren PR, she submitted a proposal for an Instagram program that basically runs several weeks. The total cost is $600, so it's very minimal, and it hands out weekly winter gift cards that start out at $50 and increase by $20 each week, with the last one being a $150 gift card. So you can do the math, $600. So
Yeah.
if the board's in favor of it, there's I believe I gave you a resolution.
There is a resolution, suggested resolution.
And I can talk to this a little better.
Let's see if we have any action here first.
I mean, you can just go into it, but to me, this is a no-brainer. I'd move to approve it.
Motion to approve by Director
Second.
Riley,
Second.
second by Director Rosbeck. Discussion. Director Riley, anything first?
No, I just think it's great. I think, the more we do this, the better, and we just need to continue to do things like this.
Right.
Thank you. Director Rosbeck.
That's really, we came, this is just an outburst of ideas as we talked about things and, trying to spread the wealth in terms of getting people excited to visit our retail stores, restaurants, salons, and so each week the contest will change in terms of what to tag and who, and like what kind of business to tag and things like that. So we're excited to see this.
Okay.
And our new agency will help give some of the content as well.
Okay. Any other questions before I call for the vote? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes. Item 7, facade grant application, Chrome.
Yeah, the DDA has received an application from Chrome at 120 West 4th Street. If you look through it, the request is for some improvements to the facade in terms of painting the store, new aluminum doors, window wraps, broken seals, as well as granite along the bottom of the storefront. I believe the total cost of the project was listed at $14,800. 50% of that would be $7,400. You'll recall the facade grant application total was maxed at $10,000, so it's under both of those. If you were to approve it today, obviously it would be predicated on the work being done, being finalized, and any actual invoices being submitted for costs and paid up to that amount. Generally, these have gone through the infrastructure committee, but the infrastructure committee hasn't met, and rather than continue to hold this, I brought it for your consideration.
Okay, questions?
I'm here for this.
I was just going to make a recommendation to approve.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Director Rosbeck, seconded by Director Keith. Questions on this? Just from my experience on infrastructure, this is, everything that is in here is in line with what we've done in the past. So there's nothing out of the ordinary here. And we have done this by bypassing the committee and coming directly before. So this is not unusual. And I would tend to support this. Questions? None? Okay. I will call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes. Okay. Item number 8, funding for additional replacement decorative lights and poles.
This request really came from the Department of Public Services at the city. The board may recall that you spent approximately $1.1 million in the downtown on replacing the LED fixtures, the globes that didn't match, as well as poles throughout the downtown. Part of that did include the acquisition of some additional items for storage. Once that project was done, DPS made a request to have some more, given other areas that have now come online and need to be installed, as well as to have an additional amount in storage for quick use. There is some turnaround time here in ordering new ones, so to hold 10 lights with all the related hardware and storage is, in my opinion, a good idea. But obviously it's up to the board. That would, in order to round that off and get to that number, the additional funding that would be needed is $20,850. There is a resolution if the board concurs.
Okay. Director Riley.
Yeah, I would move to approve this, and this has been,
Yeah.
one of the better things that we've done. I mean, things look a lot better and more uniform, and let's just do it all.
Motion by Director Riley.
I second.
Second by Director Rosbeck. Any questions? None? Okay, I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes. Alrighty. Item 9, stamp concrete maintenance and sealing.
Again, the board may recall that in the last fiscal year, you spent approximately $960,000 on taking out all of the concrete pavers that remained throughout the downtown because they were becoming trip hazards. They had ongoing issues with them in terms of spalding and other issues, and you replaced all of that with the stamped colored concrete to that tune. Based on their consultant as well as the engineering department, they're recommending that you, in terms of maintenance, those be sealed at least every 3 years. They've provided an estimate that if you wanted to do it all, the entire downtown area in 1 year, that would be about $215,000. The other option would be to do it in segments of 3 over a 3-year period, and I believe that was about $72,000. So I've provided a resolution with blanks in it in terms of what the DDA recommendation would be. The city's engineering department wants to put the specs together for this so that it can be bid in January and be done next season. So that's why it's in front of you.
Director Riley.
Yeah, Tim, real quick, when they're soliciting the bid, will we get a bid that they will, in other words, and my inclination would be to split this thing up into 3 years. There's a lot of things I like about that. I like it that it gives us flexibility with regard to who's doing it, with regard to how it's going. You know, in other words, if all of a sudden we're 2 years in and maybe some area needs repair or whatever, that I just kind of like the flexibility that it gives us for budgetary purposes and for logistics. Would the bid that we would get be like a 3-year bid? In other words, here's the price, we're gonna do this, and then this year, this year, and this year.
I would think that would be the cheaper way to go about it, and you wouldn't have to see it every year.
Right.
You'd simply, bid it and just have the same firm do it. This segment 1 year,
Yeah.
this segment the next, and this one the 3rd year.
Okay, all right. And again, my take in going through this is that we break it up into the 3 years and we have a continual rolling. It's almost a budgetary slot.
I agree. I had one question beyond that.
Go ahead.
So, currently, if I think about some of the stamped concrete that's on Center Street right now, outside of like Guzzling Alley, and it's sealed, but it's sealed very poorly. It looks like it always is rained on, like the rain just happened every time you walk through some of that. Is there any way, and I know we're not talking about certain contracts, but are there service level agreements that we can come to with a company like this that talks to, the way they're doing the business? I don't know if that's in these contracts today, but they're just kind of sloppy in the current ceiling that I've seen around the city. So,
Well, I don't recall whether that was one of the areas that was recently done or not. I'd have to go back and look and who did it, but we've had several different areas done at different times.
okay.
And yes, you can go back and look at different segments, but that's not really what we're.
No, I know we're in
Yeah.
it. I agree with everything Director Riley was saying about contracts and things
Yeah.
like that, but I want to also, is there a way to put into this contract some sort of, service level agreement around, the work? Because if we do this over a course of 3 years, we want to, if one of the ceiling isn't holding up after a year, do we go away from that vendor and go to a new vendor? That kind of stuff, that's all.
Yeah, and there is generally warranties in engineering,
Okay.
but this really isn't construction. It's simply spraying on
I totally get it.
maintenance and stuff.
Doesn't, when we enter into a contract like this, doesn't engineering oversee it anyway?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
No, they're just looking to see how you want them to write the specs, whether it be a one-time shot or breaking it into segments. And it might be better to do it segments so you're not bothering the whole downtown at one time too.
I would agree.
With the logistics of it, yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah,
I know you did the whole replacement in 1 year. That's why
right.
I wasn't sure where you wanted to go.
So, there is a suggested,
It's a motion that we
no, we have to fill in the blanks here.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I would
this is
allocate
3 years at 72,000.
Yep,
at 70,000 per year.
yep.
That's your,
I will make that motion.
I have a motion by Director Riley,
I'll second that.
second by Director Keith. Any questions regarding this item? Okay, seeing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes. Okay. Item number 10. Alley improvements, stamped concrete, 4th to 5th, or 3rd to 4th and 4th to 5th.
The board may recall back in March, you got a recommendation from the infrastructure committee to repair the north-south alley from 3rd to 4th Street with a design that just included general concrete and repair work, lining up the back doors and other things. The board at that time allocated $131,000 towards the project from 3rd to 4th. The segment that was from 4th to 5th was referred back to the Infrastructure Committee for some discussion. The Infrastructure Committee did meet in April and recommended moving forward with that segment. The board hasn't taken a formal action on that segment, although you did approve in the budget funding for both segments. The segment from 4th to 5th is technically under the same contract with the contractor, but not scheduled to be done until the spring of 2022 if we move forward. So right now your current project or approved under the fiscal year 21-22, it should say there, is $205,000 for the entire segment. Based on the final numbers that came in the bid, it's going to be $215,841, so it's a little bit more it's about $11,000 more for the whole thing. So the first action that I would ask for the board is to formally approve the segment from 4th to 5th and allocate the additional $11,000 for the work. The second part of this request is the City Commission has asked the DDA to consider including stamped colored concrete between 3rd and 5th Streets. Based on the information provided by the engineering department, you'll see the breakdown between the two segments in the report. From 3rd to 4th, it's $62,794. From 4th to 5th, it's a little over $54,000. So the total would be $116,865 if you wanted to add stamped colored concrete. That would be the second action that I would suggest the board deal with as part of this request. It's an item that's in front of you today.
Okay. Go ahead, Director Roswig.
I'll make a motion to approve the first resolution.
Okay, so the first resolution, just for clarity purposes, is to approve the planned improvements for the alley between 4th and 5th Street
I second that.
with the additional $11,000, and second by Director London. Okay, any questions on this motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes. So we have a second portion here that needs to be considered, and that is what was asked of us by the commission. And this would be, as opposed to regular concrete going in, this would be the painted stamped concrete between 3rd and 5th Streets for both portions.
Yeah, it would be a similar design that's between 3rd and 11 Mile to the north. It's not the same contractor that's under contract. That's the only nuance, so there is a different contractor on board.
Okay, so I can give you some discussion that infrastructure had, but we'll take some questions here first. Director Riley.
Yeah, one thing I'll say is I couldn't agree with Commissioner Colo more that this is to make it uniformed and this is the start of I think what we've all been talking about for a couple of years now. And I'll just say that I'm gonna support this, assuming that we get a motion on the table. The Business Marketing Committee has started like preliminary discussions about the whole, alley improvement, whether it was the Royal Oak Way, the Row or whatever, and designs on taking this thing from 11 Mile down to 6th and then over towards Washington and just doing the whole thing. And our intent is hopefully it's going to be a collaboration between the DDA and the city as well. That because this thing, if we do it right, this thing could between the park and everything that we've done, to me, this is like, and to our committee, this is like the final coup de grace here, where we put this thing down, we light it right. We bring events all year round, and you know, we've got Washington, we've got Maine, and we've got the L, or whatever you want to call it, the alley, that runs behind Washington, or behind Maine and over to Washington. So I think there's a lot to do, and this is, you know, again, I think of the discussion that we had back when the parking structure was up there and everything, and I think the developer came to us and asked for help, and we kind of leaned on him to maybe you take care of this yourself. And the whole, you know, we wanted that to do it that way, instead of having to tear it up and redo it. The last thing I'd want to do, we're doing all this work, you know, between third and fourth, it would be to just, you know, pave that or put concrete down there, and then a year later go, geez, what were we thinking? Why didn't we just stamp it? So let's do it right and get it right out of the box. But this is, you know, we're going to float the boat on this one. But when we go to really developing this thing, we're going to need some help. It's going to have to be a collaboration to do it right from us in the city.
Director Brake.
So with that in mind, I will make the motion to authorize the stamped colored concrete in the public alleys between 3rd and 5th Streets in the amount of $117,000 as prepared in the resolution.
I have a motion by Director Brake,
Second.
second by Director Rossbeck. Any questions or comments? I just have two concerns that I just want to address. One is I have a little bit of concern about this because when this originally was before infrastructure many months ago, our concern at that time was that this portion, particularly between 4th and 5th, was very heavily used by truck traffic. More so than what has been done up to this point. So there was a little bit of concern there in terms of maintenance and longevity that I wanted to bring to your attention. And the other concern that I have is that, and I don't know if Tim can address this or not, is we're going to have to go back and do exactly what we did between 11 Mile and 3rd with code enforcement taking strong action to work on the dumpster issues, the trash issues, and keeping that, if we're going to spend this kind of money, we need to keep that alley as nice as what we've seen on the portion that's been completed already. So I think that those are just two things that I wanted to put out there. I'm in support of this. I think this is definitely the way to go. But I did want to bring those concerns
I think
to the table.
So we're still talking, this is the alley, this is not the same alley as the Salvation Army alley, or it is?
It is.
So is there discussion around that being rejiggered for them, or would we still have to work within that guise of everyone doing drop-offs through there? Because they're probably your worst offenders in terms of like big things in the alley.
Well, back when it came, prior to it came back in through the infrastructure committee, the former downtown manager had gone up and down the entire segments, and there was very little interest in the businesses participating, number one. Mm-hmm. There was very little interest in them using it as opposed to what was north of 3rd Street, where a lot of them did. And you'll recall that the segment between 2nd and 3rd was actually paid for by Mr. Bogie and his project. That was not anything funded by the city or the DDA. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of interest. There was very little, if no interest, in these two segments from the businesses. And I think that played into the infrastructure committee's thinking as well, because they did discuss whether or not to continue the same form. And as Mike said, we have had ongoing code enforcement issues with many of the businesses along there. Mm-hmm. So that, I believe all of those things played into the former recommendation from the Infrastructure Committee and the prior DDA decision. So with all of that in mind, obviously you can change your mind and vote going forward, but I guess the second part of this is I'd be more than happy to go out and slam people that are violating the codes as long as I don't get any blowback from it.
Well, we're definitely, I mean, I guess, and I don't know if Tim or Mr. Bright can address this, this is gonna need some education process for the business owners and
Yes.
some awareness and everything else too. And I don't know whose department that would come out of, but.
This guy.
I'll leave my hand on that.
You know,
And just, if I can say something, I mean, I've personally spoke with two of the business owners between Third and Fourth over the years. And you know, maybe I just have too much faith in man, but I feel that if this gets, you know, first of all, the fact that we're redoing it, and if we do it, you know, right, and now it's, you know, we've got the pavers down there. I'm not gonna say they're gonna police themselves and police each other, but I'll bet you that it would end up that way. I mean, they're gonna be after, if you've got a bad neighbor who's leaving his dumpster out or not doing the right thing, somebody's gonna get after him before Mr. Twing's got to get over there.
yeah, and I think this may, you know, this may boil down to being something that we may have one or two businesses that, you know, abuse the situation, and we'll just have to address that, you know, when the time comes, but, you know, so.
The businesses, I know, particularly between Third and Fourth, I mean, that alley has been, you know, such a disaster for a while that they're just, you know, I don't know, has anybody heard one complaint about it being torn up? I know I mean, they know what's coming, so.
No, Third and Fourth has been cleaned up pretty good.
Yeah, it's Fourth to Fifth.
Yeah.
Since they've gotten notice from Tim's department, it's been cleaned up pretty good. So I'm comfortable there.
I would say, just understanding that the Salvation Army has that traffic pattern, I wonder, is there thoughts of putting it into that parking lot that is next to the alley and migrating their traffic pattern into that parking lot?
I don't know, that parking lot is owned by this board,
Right.
the DDA. If you want to give up using
Well,
your
you wouldn't be giving up any.
well, they're going to store stuff in it. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
it's against it's against their own wall. That's what I guess. You either have those boxes in the alley or you're gonna have them against that wall. So I don't know
Well,
how we.
the code enforcement action I would take is to cite them every day that they have stuff stored out there.
Okay.
They're not supposed to store stuff outside.
Nobody wants that to look at
Nobody.
that.
No, no one does.
I would support you doing that.
So that would be the action we would take.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table, and we have a second. Is there any further discussion on this issue? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes. Okay, last item here, Screen Vision Media, theater ads.
This item has been in front of you in the past, just a real brief history on it. The DDA, it's not popping up from here it comes. The DDA did have agreements with Screen Vision Media to run some of the video ads that you'd previously approved and seen, not any that dealt with COVID. This was all prior to that. This was shut down when COVID occurred, and you still had kind of an outstanding an agreement with Screen Vision Media that said you had 12 weeks of ads that you could run at $2,940. They've asked a couple of times whether or not we wanted to start those again. Last month, you may recall, you said, no, let's wait. I explained that to them, and they provided the reasoning behind it. They provided their movie list to show you that they are running substantial number of movies now. And I believe the Consumer Marketing Committee is in support of starting this November 1st? And if so, there's a resolution there that, for your consideration, and I would,
I think the difference is we realize the money has already been paid.
no.
See, that's what he said, and we
So based on your email, it appears we already have the contract in hand and that that
We've
this was
signed an
delayed.
agreement, we don't pay them until after the
Oh,
fact,
all
so
right.
these have not
That-
been paid.
That was not necessarily clear to us when we
Yeah.
approved this. But it's not a huge amount of money, and the reason we decided to go forward with this is we're hitting the holiday season, and there are people, all the Marvel movies are coming out right now, so we would prefer to be in front of this audience, for sure.
And just looking at this, I mean, there's some of this stuff, I mean, not that I follow movies, but I know they've been sitting on these things.
Yes.
You know, like the Top Gun movie, and, I mean,
Yes.
you got
Well, you have a
the
Disney
big stuff,
movie,
the
you
big
have,
stuff. So
you have a
I'm
Pixar.
guessing that they're looking at jump starting everything in the holiday season. And this would start at the beginning of November? Or,
Yes, beginning of
and
November,
remind me, is it 12 weeks that we have?
Yes.
yes.
Should get us through the end of the year.
Yeah.
It gets us through the end of the year, yes. So I make
I agree with the timing.
I make the motion to approve.
Motion by Director Rossman,
Support.
supported by Director O'Reilly. Discussion? Seeing none, call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And opposed? And that motion passes. That brings us to the end of our agenda. You have a couple of reports for you to review. Tim, anything from you?
Nothing additional.
Okay.
Mr. Brake, anything?
I'm all set. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Does anybody have anything you want to bring to the table at this time?
We're glad to have Spectacular
Yeah,
going.
I think that's this Sunday.
Yeah.
Yep, spectacular this Sunday. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll
Motion
second
to
that.
adjourn.
Or I'll make a
Okay.
motion.
Motion by Director Key to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Director Rossman.
It's been long.
Okay, call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And opposed? And that motion passes, and we are officially adjourned.
Thank you.